What's up, grinders? Welcome back to the channel. Today, I will react. O review dia vai falar isso, ó.
What's up, grinders? Welcome back to the channel. Okay, so today we're going to be responding to the comments on my
No é react. Responding to comments.
own goddamn video. Should I do this language challenge? Now, the reason I'm going to be responding to comments is because look at this. There is 294 comments on a 3.2k viewed video. That is almost a comment per view, which is absolutely insane. Okay, so I'm going to respond to the top comments on this video. And hopefully in that way I can answer all your questions, because there was a lot of questions. There was also a lot of comments, and you know, just we're all having a good time, okay? Now, again, this is not me promising I'm actually going to do this, because if this turns into an epic series at the end of the day, which, you know, happened with the Dreaming Spanish series, that one kind of started as a discussion. Don't you want to be here for the beginning of it? Don't you want to have your own little bit of input? You never know. This may end up be something that spans multiple years. And it could have all just started just because of a random comment on YouTube. So let's read some of the comments together. I learned Japanese only...
Ele vai ler os comentários de um vídeo que ele gravou falando sobre as ideias futuras dele de próximas línguas para ser abordadas.
using Anki, and watch the algorithm go crazy.
I learned Japanese only use Anki and watch the algorithm go crazy.
I think in some ways it would go crazy because, like, it's Anki and everyone in the language space knows Anki, and there's this massive debate in the language space about whether you can actually get enough context from Anki in order to learn a language without, you know, referring to getting input from actual people. Like, if you watched the original video, maybe I didn't express it too well. The idea, yeah, it was meant to be like a flip to, like, the flip side of the Dreaming Spanish thing, and a lot of people commented in the comment section here that even if you use Anki, it's basically comprehensible input. I get that, but what I was expressing, like the idea was, if you watched my recent videos, I had some backwards and forwards with another YouTuber where he said that you could never get enough context from basically flashcards in order to learn a language. And that kind of spawned an idea in my head along with the Dreaming Spanish one. And I was like, well, if you remove the human from the loop, you know, so you take away actual content you're watching, take away actually talking to people, could you, via just AI or just course materials, you know, just written materials, text-to-speech, could you, via these things and a flashcard system, obviously Anki, actually learn a language? Like, is that something you could do? I was curious, and I kind of want to test that theory. So, yes, it would, of course, be a lot of comprehensible input inside of Anki and AI and all that type of stuff, but the idea was, can you take away what people think of comprehensible input, which is, you know, just watching a lot of videos or reading a lot of books? Can you take those things away? And could you do it just via AI and flashcards and stuff? Now, obviously you could. Like, at the end of the day, like, you could do it via any method, but is it efficient? Is it worse than an ALG approach, or is it better? I know no one's asking this question except for me. And a bunch of you pointed that out in the comment section, but I'm asking that question. I'm kind of curious. And it seems like a bunch of you are also quite curious.
Ele tá querendo testar as metodologias. Igual ele falou, fazer ele já tá fazendo o IOD, que é o negócio de input lá. Que ele não lê, só consome conteúdo sem legendas e tal. Ele já tá fazendo isso com o espanhol. Mas aí ele quer fazer outras abordagens e testar quais que são mais eficientes para ele. Igual aprender japonês apenas lendo livros. Como que você vai ler o livro? Tá ligado? Você vai usar uma abordagem para fazer o aprendizado daquele idioma. Se vai demorar 20 anos, aí não é tão eficiente. Entendeu? É isso que ele tá falando aqui.
100% go for it, but do it for language like French or German where there's sufficient training data for AI to use. Okay, let's talk French. You've been around this channel long enough. You know me and French language, we don't get along too well. And that all started from a one-night stand prior to me picking up and marrying Esperanto, okay? See, I thought French was one thing, we got together, we tried it out, and little did I know, the French just fucking, it's a mess. It's an absolute mess, and that was technically my first actual language I was trying to learn, and I think I spent like a week on it, and I was like, what is this? Like every single word is pronounced different to how it's written. No! And
Ah, porque a palavra em francês é diferente do que tá escrito. Tá escrito de um jeito e a pronúncia é outra. No português, não. Tá escrito de um jeito, muitas vezes vai ser daquele jeito que tá escrito.
I don't know. I just got traumatic memories of my experience with French, even though it's listed as like an easy language. I'm more scared of French than I am of like any other language for some reason. I think I've just been traumatized. Now, German is an interesting choice. I have played around with German a few times before, and that is because it is the native language of my mum. Okay, so it's her mother language. However, she's lived in Australia since she was like 10 or 11, so she's, for all intents and purposes, almost completely forgotten the language. But when she does speak it a little bit, and she speaks it with, you know, Germans, they say things to her like, you sound like you're speaking Shakespearean version of German, because apparently the German my mum speaks is the German that my Oma spoke, and that was already like prior to multiple different reforms and was kind of like an obscure dialect or something.
Então, o alemão que a mãe dele fala, que muitos anos atrás... Ela é alemã, mas morou muitos anos atrás na Alemanha, foi muito mais jovem para a Austrália. O alemão que ela fala é um alemão mais robuscado, um alemão mais antigo. Então, por isso que ele citou Shakespeare.
I don't know. I know very little, because even my mum doesn't know. She just knows she speaks German, and it's a weird German. So anyway, I have thought about learning German before, and I do have a friend that's learning it. So it is a possibility. French, less so. I don't know. I probably should do French, because like everyone's learning fucking French. Why am I less interested in the languages everyone's learning? I don't get it. I definitely think a third series
Todo mundo aprende francês.
would stretch you thin. However, I'm not going to lie. This series
Eu definitivamente pensei que a terceira série poderia...
would be super exciting to follow. Look forward to it, whether it eventually happens. Okay, so my thoughts were that if I was to start this, let's say soon, it would be very, very limited. It would be like 30 minutes to an hour max every day. Maybe adding like 6 cards into like Anki or something, or like based... Actually, it wouldn't be specifically 6 cards, but it'd be 6 concepts or words or ideas or something like that. You would see if I actually do the series, because I've got an idea of how I'd want to do it. But it would be the series that would get the least amount of attention, because I do want to finish the Dreaming Spanish roadmap, and I don't think it's possible, but I'd like to get it done this year, like the Dreaming Spanish roadmap. Like, I don't think it's possible because I've pulled back on the hours. I'm doing like 2 hours a day right now, just because I'm trying to fit more talking in and some more reading and stuff. But you never know. Maybe I'll finish it off this year. I'll get to that point. It's possible. 6 months, who knows? Anything possible. But I think the only way that would be possible is if I did a lot more input, and I think that would be kind of cheating. I'd need to do more output to give it a fair shot, you know what I mean? And obviously I've got the Chinese Lingo Pie series, which has to happen no matter what, because that's the only one that's literally paying me. Like, everything else I'm doing for the shits and giggles and the tiny little bit of shitty ad revenue we get at the end of it. So that's what I'm thinking. If I did do it, it'd be very limited amount per day. I don't know, I was thinking maybe if I did do an hour per day, I could do like a summary video every single day of what I did and how I did it, but that would be members only, and it would be like a super short video just for members who want to, I don't know, literally even follow along with me. I could even share the deck I'm creating or something. If you finally learn the International Phonetic Alphabet, you could also learn how to speak without ever listening to anything. I saw this comment in a few different locations where you guys were saying it would be more interesting if I did it without the text-to-speech. And that gave me heart palpitations. The reason being is with text-to-speech, I know I could mimic close enough that I'd be understandable, okay? I'd be able to pull it off. But without text-to-speech, bruh, I would be... Could you imagine every single day practicing for, let's say, 1, 2, 3 years, and you have no idea whether what you're saying is even correct? Like, sound-wise. The only way I could...
É frustrante. Ele tá falando você ficar 2 a 3 anos aprendendo um idioma que você não sabe corretamente a fonética, porque você vai aprender só pelo texto, você não vai ouvir. Então, é frustrante.
Do that is if I became so goddamn good at the phonetic symbols or whatnot for that specific language, and I would have to get feedback in some way to know I'm doing it right. Or I'd have to pick a language where I already know all the sounds. Just so I don't have to, like, worry about that. Because, like, even if I learnt the phonetic alphabet, I would end up speaking a language which would be the evil Viennese version of it. It would be very, very unique. It may be grammatically completely correct, very, very fluent, but very, very fluent. What the fuck is that? So I know why you guys want that. It would be very interesting. However, there is a counterpoint here I did think about. A good thing could be is if I learnt a dialect of a popular language. Let's say, for example, Japanese. Rather than learning, and like I already did a little bit of exploration on this, but rather than learning like the Tokyo dialect, which is what everyone learns, you know, it's the standard Japanese, why not use the phonetic alphabet AI to try and learn something like the Kyoto dialect, okay, which apparently its pitch accent is all different and it sounds quite different. Or, you know, we could play with that idea I spoke about.
Será que seria igual o sotaque? Ele tá falando que em Kyoto fala japonês, lógico, né? Mas tem também o dialeto próprio de Kyoto. Em Tóquio, fala japonês, óbvio, mas tem o dialeto próprio de Tóquio. Algumas fonéticas, alguma coisa assim. Será que seria como se fosse sotaques, expressões, igual aqui no Brasil? Minas Gerais fala de um jeito, Paulista fala de outro, Carioca fala de outro.
Ages ago of Korean where I learned Korean, but the North Korean version, you know? But the problem is the AI, I doubt, would have enough information. And then in that case, I would have to refer to probably old US war manuals or something to try and learn that Korean. Like, I'm sure there's something around there for that. But like, that's some ideas there, okay? In order to be direct comparison to Dreaming Spanish, it couldn't be a language that's too hard. It couldn't be a Romance language because it would be too easy after Spanish. So you might have to do it like Indonesian, German, or Norwegian or something. Indonesian I could see as a possibility, but also Indonesian doesn't. I know this sounds stupid because, like, literally, I'm just learning from.
Eu acho que desse jeito que ele quer, seria legal um idioma que você não precisa aprender um novo alfabeto. Ou, tipo assim, não um novo alfabeto muito difícil. Sei lá, minha ideia. Mas, enfim. Igual ele tá aprendendo espanhol, aí agora francês, italiano, até português vai ficar muito mais fácil por causa do... É o mesmo alfabeto, são idiomas derivados do mesmo pai, que é o latim, né? Ou tô falando bosta? Acho que é isso mesmo.
Anki and there'd be no external sources. But at the end, when I finally do learn Indonesian, there is, like, from my understanding, very, very little media worth consuming in Indonesian. That's literally from an Indonesian native speaker mate of mine. He said that to me when I asked him about Indonesian ages ago. I know for the series, it doesn't matter because I wouldn't be consuming it, but I would like to, at the end of, let's say, 1, 2, 3 years of doing however long this takes, when we hit that magic point, I don't know, 1,000 hours of just pure Anki, to sit down, hit play on something I could fucking enjoy. Maybe I'm wrong about Indonesian. Finish the trilogy. The language has to be finished. I'm half tempted to say finish just due to how you fucking said that.
É finlandês? Finish?
That's awesome. Maybe you could do this one after you finish the DS series. What I would probably do is, as I said, I don't know when it would start, but it would start very, very small, and the reason being is because then I can kind of figure out when. And also, when does the DS series end? Like, I know 1,500 hours is the end of the roadmap, but that's the end of just the levels in the roadmap, in the Dreaming Spanish roadmap. It's not actually the end of the ALG. And from what I can tell, most people are like, oh, you got to do 2,000 plus hours, like 2,000, 2,500 hours. There's like channels that have done 3,000 hours. Like, when's it end? That's the...
Talvez ele não precisa parar de estudar o espanhol depois de conseguir o roadmap de espanhol. Pode ser que dê certo para ele abaixar o nível um pouco do espanhol e começar um outro idioma que ele quer, entendeu? Não mostrar tanto no canal o seu desempenho no espanhol, deixar como background ali, entendeu? Igual aqui, eu tô aprendendo inglês, mas caso eu venha aprender espanhol e o meu inglês já tá no nível mais alto, no futuro, né? Já estaria no nível mais alto, então eu abaixo um pouco o consumo do inglês e aumento o consumo do espanhol. Eu faria isso, tá? Mas, enfim.
That's the question here. So there could become a point after the 1,500 hours where I pull back on the number.
Eu tenho que parar de fazer isso, eu tenho que parar de ficar me explicando toda. Ah, eu faria isso. Porra, é lógico que eu faria isso, eu que tô falando aqui, mas, tá ligado? Toda hora eu tenho que ficar me explicando. Mas pra mim mesmo, ninguém pediu nada. Mas eu vou parar com isso, eu vou falar o que eu tenho que falar e é isso aí. Ah, mas interpretou errado, aí é difícil.
Of hours? I don't know. There are pre-made decks with thousands of vocab words, and for many languages, there are also pre-made decks with thousands of sentences from the Toto Eba project or subtitles. I actually know about that because I used it back in the day for Esperanto. I think I would want to create my own deck because I think it would just be freaking sick if there was one deck that some random freaking balding Australian dude used where you could literally see from the very beginning to fluency all the cards you would need. Like, that just sounds insane to me. Like, just imagine being like, oh yeah, by the way, Evil Deer over here, he speaks, I don't know, let's just pick a random language. Okay, North Korean, freaking Korean, you know? Here's his deck, the entire deck, boom! Learn all that and you'll speak as well as him.
Pra mim não funciona. Pra mim, eu tenho que. Quando eu tava usando o Anki, né? Eu tenho que criar o meu próprio deck. Então eu vou criando aos poucos. Eu não consigo usar o deck dos outros. Que é estranho. Sei lá, já tá. O deck de outras pessoas já tá com a história. Já tem a história deles. O meu eu tô criando a minha ali. Então, sei lá. Eu não consigo, não me adequa.
Like, as opposed to, yeah, he used like 30, 40 different freaking Frankenstein decks, deleted half the cards because they were shit, was unhappy with the templates. Some of them had AI, some of them were like actual recordings, which, you know, kind of plays around with the whole idea behind the series that, you know, try to stay away from the actual human involvement. You know, like we just have the AI and maybe the textbooks, I guess. But like, yeah, it would be. I guarantee you, I'd be creating my own decks, even though that takes more time, and I would actually track the time for the creation of the decks. The study, the creation, and then the actual reviews would all be tracked as 3 separate metrics, but then would have an overall hours.
Eu gastava muito tempo fazendo os decks, então foi um dos meus problemas e por isso que eu parei de usar o Anki. Eu tava gastando mais tempo para criar as frases do que para estudar a linguagem, ouvir a linguagem, o idioma. Target language, alright?
Spent. Because I'd want everything tracked. Hell, I might even track every single conversation in the AI and just copy it into a Word doc that I have. I don't know. Why would I track that? I don't know. I'm just weird. Do it. I think this will be the toughest, not only to learn, but to just keep motivated to do it. I'm not sure whether it would be the hardest. Like, I know some people, they absolutely hate flashcards, but I am a programmer. And I do like structure and iteration. So I'm not sure if I would be so hateful towards it as other people. That's just, you know, me expressing my.
Mano, eu vou anotar uma coisa no meio da gravação porque eu quero. Eu tenho um quadro branco aqui e eu tava anotando uns projetos pra me voltar a programar novamente, que eu dei uma parada tem uns meses aí atrás. E, mano, criar um projeto parecido com o Enki, cara, eu acho que vai desenvolver bastante minha mentalidade. Porque ele utiliza a questão de memórias espaçadas e eu não sei como faz isso. Aí para eu aprender e evoluir como um programador, ok? Eu desenvolvo em Java.
thoughts here. Please do this pure Anki series with Arabic. Testing a pure flashcard method on a non-Germanic, non-Romance language would be a legendary experiment. Arabic would be an interesting one, but if we then pulled in that whole IPA idea where we had to learn the sounds just via IPA, no text-to-speech, I know Arabic has so many unique sounds. Even Russian has unique sounds that I haven't learnt. The crazy thing is, a language like Japanese, for example, if I was to choose it, it has less unique sounds. And I could probably pull that off with IPA, like an accurate pitch accent, representation of whatever area. But in Arabic, there's a fair few. Also, can your channel just become a bunch of language challenges like this? Again, not necessarily all at once, but it would be nice to have a challenge or 3 ongoing, just trying different things. That's the direction I do want to take the channel, okay? I've spoken about...
Tem um cara, velho, que eu esqueci o nome dele. Language Simple. Acho que é Language Simple o nome do canal dele. Ele faz isso. Tipo assim, ele pega um idioma, vai lá, faz um vídeo sobre ele, estuda alguns dias, meses, sei lá, e depois dá a revisão dele sobre o idioma. É legal. E esse cara é bem humorado.
Before, and in my Discord, I do actually eventually want this channel to be me improving myself in every way and then publicly doing long-term challenges, not just for languages, but also fitness and other things. And giving you guys like insights and then finding...
É dos canais que eu gosto de assistir, é isso. Pessoas fazendo coisas há algum tempo. Tipo assim, eu acho que é Ryu o nome do menino lá. Ele pega 24 horas para aprender a jogar xadrez, 24 horas para aprender a montar um cubo mágico. Tem desafios que é mais, né? Mas tem desafios que ele se desafia em 24 horas. Eu acho legal também. Eu acho que é Ryu. Anil, não lembro. É aquele japonês que a gente viu uns dias atrás, jogando um jogo de luta.
Because like every single area out there, even fitness, they've got like different camps where they believe this is the best or that's the best. And like, testing things is like, there's very few people that test things like I do, where it's just like, I may not believe in it, but I'll do it. So I would like to eventually not just be all language challenges, but to just be challenges in general about anything. Like just be the challenge dude, the 50-hour update dude. I don't know. Like that would actually be my dream, to be able to do that. Now, I know a bunch of you guys also watch for like investigations and stuff. I do the investigations themselves.
Faz um tempo que você não faz conteúdo de investigação. Que antes ele investigava pessoas que se autoproclamavam poliglotas ou hiper poliglotas e não tinha tanta fluência nos idiomas.
Actually happened as a result of me trying to figure out what is humanly possible in learning languages. It wasn't because I wanted to debunk people, although I ended up doing that and shat on a fair few of them. It's because I wanted to actually understand.
Mas tinha muita gente que era verídico, a pessoa era muito boa no aprendizado.
What's possible for like, someone who literally has no life? What is possible? And then what's half that? Because that's probably what I can do. Great idea. DS is input only. There are 2 contraries. Output only, no input. Option 1 would be most fun. Output only. It's literally impossible to do.
Output only seria, tipo assim, escrever. E só escrever ou só falar o idioma. É muito, sei lá, impossível, que você não vai ouvir nada do idioma, você só vai, sei lá.
Without some form of input. Okay, Evil Deer, start speaking Korean. How did I go? You get warmer. Not quite as warm as before. Not quite there. Keep heading that direction. Eventually I land on a Korean word. It's like that, you hear about the 1,000 monkeys smashing on the typewriter for all eternity will eventually pump out Shakespeare. That would be me. 1,000-hour update. Evil Deer has successfully landed on 3 Korean words. Oh, screw it. You know, it'd be worse for the people who's sitting there giving me the thumbs up or the thumbs down. If you do it for Japanese, then go for it. We want to see the toxicity go crazy. Okay, I got a serious question for the Japanese community, okay? For those of you out there who have used AI and you've tested with Japanese, how good is it with Japanese? I know I did a investigation into AI not too long ago, but how good is it? And not just for Japanese, how good is it for the local dialects? Because if I was to do, say, Japanese, it would totally be a non-standard dialect. And is there even text-to-speech for non-standard dialects? Like if we would do IPA, it would be a non-standard dialect, because that would be the best way to show that I'm literally not doing...
Ele tá falando novamente dos dialetos em japonês, que depende da região.
Just watching content secretly behind the scenes type of thing. But is there text-to-speech for non-standard dialects? I don't know. That's actually an interesting question. Okay, anyway, I think I've answered the majority of these questions here. You guys have some of my thoughts. Let me know if you got any more questions down in the comment section. Let's keep working as a community, like smashing out an idea. Let's see where this leads, okay? This will eventually happen in some form or another. When is the question? How intensely is another question. It all depends on, you know, life circumstances and stuff, but I do want to see what kind of interesting series we can come up with. And like, Japanese is very, very high in the possibility list, and there's a reason for that. And I know if you're thinking, well, a bunch of you are probably thinking, yeah, but Evil Deer, we want to do a comparison to the DS series, and Japanese is a hard language. Yeah, but I have to pick a language that's popular. Anki's popular, but then I have to also pick a popular language to make this series worth my time. I need to bring in more viewers, right? So if I pick, let's say, Uzbek, like, who's gonna watch that series? Like, probably no one, okay, except for my current audience. That's actually a real issue I have. It's
Seria legal o Uzbequistão.
very hard for me
Uzbequistão é o país, né? O Uzbek é o idioma.
to grow this channel. Like, once people start watching, they usually just
Eu não sei se em português é Uzbek também, depois eu pesquiso.
intently watch, but it's very hard for me to attract new people to this channel. It's because I do pretty niche shit as it is. So I would have to try and make this both, you know, popular enough to bring in new people, as well as interesting and answering that question, you know, that we were all interested. Anyway, I've jabbered on for long enough. Bloody hell, 26 minutes talking about comments. I'll see you all in the next video. And if you're not there,
É, 26 minutes. Eu tô 27 minutes, ok? Let's go. Você finalizou? Adeus, tá? Adeus. Bem pertinho de vocês aqui, falando no microfone. Adeus, tchau, 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 tchau.